When it comes to communication in Liberia, orange is number one.
Orange is the best. Orange is the best. Oh, orange is the best.
Orange is the best.
Strongest network, widest coverage.
Orange is the best.
Fastest internet speed.
Orange is the best.
People, orange is the best. Yes, orange is the best.
Lama kitie na ratama please woo. Company gini that's the boga orange top bag number 1 Trinity.
Company is my orange. I don't got the best.
Orange will make you the telephone offer.
Reliable, trusted, and dependable.
Orange is about 7. Yeah, orange is
Orange is the best.
It's all about what matters to you. Orange.
was seized by officers of the Armed Forces of Liberia at the RIA when the head of airport security, Samuel Freeman, tried to escort it using an illegal entrance. The government initially said the substance was moringa tea, but testing done by the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency and partners proved that the substance was methamphetamine, a substance listed by the United Nations as an illegal drug. Archbishop Azewenga has termed as timely the presence of the international partners in Liberia ahead of the October polls. Recently, the European Union and the Economic Community of West African States disclosed the deployment of their election observers across the 15 counties of Liberia. According to the regional bodies, their presence seek to ensure that the election is conducted in a peaceful manner as the 2023 election marks 20 years of uninterrupted peace since the signing of the Accra Peace Agreement in 2003. Archbishop Azewinka, who is the founder of the Dominion Christian Fellowship Church, has at the same time cautioned Liberians to ensure that the peace of the country is maintained. The renowned Liberian clergyman further said the National Elections Commission has the burden to ensure the country remains peaceful. As such, it must discharge its duty without fear or favor. At the same time, Bishop Wenger noted that his prayer is that God should touch the minds of various political actors and their supporters to desist from violent activities, thus calling on religious leaders to use their respective places of worship to preach the message of peace in Liberia. Dr. Alan White, co-executive director of the Advocates Foundation for Human Rights, has delivered a compelling testimony before the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Subcommittee on Global Health, Global Human Rights, and International Organizations. His testimony brought attention to the urgent issue of ritualistic killings in Africa, with a particular focus on Liberia. Dr. White's testimony shed light on the Advocacy Foundation's crucial mission, which involves combating human rights violations, especially ritualistic killings. He also highlighted alarming allegations that link these heinous acts to high-ranking government officials, including those in the executive. Based in Washington, D.C., the Advocacy Foundation for Human Rights is a non-profit organization with a dedicated commitment to targeting human rights violators, exposing public corruption, and advocating for justice and accountability on behalf of victims of such atrocities. As part of its support to national development through education, Firestone Liberia has graduated about 190 students who passed the regional examinations. The rubber company, in a statement, said inclusive and accessible education is one of its social impact goals in Liberia. The company said such vision led to the establishment of the Firestone Liberia school system that consists of 23 schools running from pre-K to 12th grade in Margibi County. The schools, according to Firestone, are operating at tuition-free for children and families of Firestone's teammates and has employed over 250 educators and administrators with an enrollment of about 7,000 students each year. In addition, the company said it invests 150,000 United States dollars annually in scholarships for higher education opportunities for both teammates, dependents, and for qualifying students from around the country. Firestone Liberia said its commitment to excellence in education has been key in shaping the lives of both its employees and their families. In her commencement address at the recent graduation, Julate Morba, a Firestone scholar and 2012 graduate of the Firestone school system, encouraged the students to leverage technology to build businesses and grow their careers. She said social media should not just be used for posting jokes or funny things, but must be used to leverage the opportunity to connect with people or search links that will improve the lives of the young people. In the press statement, the company said its school focuses on investing in talent through quality free education and valuable scholarship opportunities while empowering students to pursue their dreams and unlock their full potentials. The Sovereign Association of Liberia has launched an initiative to promote peaceful elections in Liberia. The campaign aims to create awareness and discourage violence during the upcoming elections. As part of this effort, the Civil Servants Association of Liberia recently organized a one-day awareness event on nonviolent elections in the township of West Point, with plans to expand to other parts of the country. The president of the association, Moiba Johnson, emphasized the importance of this awareness campaign to the maintenance of peace in Liberia. He noted that the global spotlight has shifted to various troubled regions, making it crucial for Liberia to proactively address potential election-related violence. Johnson affirmed that the campaign for non-violent elections will not be limited to West Point and Cloudtown, but will also be extended to other regions in the country considered to be potential trouble spots. The National Eye Health Division at the Ministry of Health, SightSaver, has launched the National Eye Health Policy and Strategic Plan in Liberia. The National Eye Health Policy and Strategic Plan are aimed at addressing eye problems in the country with the training of specialized doctors. Giving an overview of the program manager of the National Eye Health Program, Joseph Kekula, said the program will help the institution make significant strides in the health system of the country. According to Dr. Kekula, the Ministry of Health has been lagging behind with what he termed as policy framework as it relates to the implementation of eye care in the country. As such, the development of such document will accelerate growth. He noted that the policy is for 5 years, while the strategic plan is for 10 years. Serving as chief launcher of the program, Liberia's chief medical officer, Dr. Francis Kete, noted that the document will help make the health sector vibrant. He lamented that the health sector of the country is challenged, but encouraged Liberian doctors to continue their service to humanity. The Yoruba Community and Descendant Union of Liberia wants Bola Ogunkoya to step down as king of the Yoruba Kingdom in Liberia. The president of the group, Matthew Makinde, accused Bola Ogunkoya of misappropriation of funds, misconduct, and sexual harassment while serving as king of Yoruba in Liberia. According to Makinde, after launching an investigation into these allegations against Bola, executives of the union invited him for questioning. Makinde said Bola was dethroned by the community as a result of his failure to honor their request after being served several letters for dialogue. The Yoruba Community and Descendant Union of Liberia's president lamented that Bola Ogunkoya is still purporting to be king of Yoruba in Liberia, attending various gatherings on behalf of the union. Matthew Makinde is therefore calling on Bola to desist from the art of impersonating as king of Yoruba. Out of Liberia now, Burkina Faso's Transitional Legislative Assembly has unanimously voted to send troops to neighboring Niger, where the military seized power on 26 July this year. State TV quoted Defense Minister Colonel Major Kassoum Coulibaly as saying the troops will have a 3-month renewable stay in Niger, fighting terrorism and contributing to stabilizing Sahel states. Burkina Faso's interim cabinet on 30 August approved the deployment of troops to Niger in anticipation of a planned military intervention by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Burkina Faso and Mali are among the few countries that have backed Niger's military junta, which is under pressure from ECOWAS to restore the democratically elected president or risk further sanctions and possible regional military intervention. Well, Henson, that's the bulletin of news on news. Mark Davis for the News Bulletin, the Foreign Development, the Bulletin of News. This is a regular feature on the news program. If you are just joining us, one of the top developments that we are following.
American missionary Lucas Bridget lands at the Moravia Central Prison as police investigation implicates him to attempted murder and aggravated assault against his lover Jessica Lloyd. Let's bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Integrity Watch Liberia has alarmed over violations of the campaign finance regulations. The institution disclosed that it has received a total of 819 reports concerning violations of the Canadian political parties' campaign finance regulations set forth by the National Elections Commission for the 2023 presidential and legislative elections. Integrity Watch Executive Director Hera Ado said 179 of the violations pertain to the abuse of state resources. I want to look at now. Heraldo is the executive director of Integrity Watch Liberia. Presidential candidate Councillor Tiawan Gonglo described the October general elections in Liberia as a defining movement for the country. Councillor Gonglo said the people's decision at the ballot this year will determine the future of the country, that such Liberians must be mindful in electing their leaders. What? At the same time, the Liberian People's Party standard bearer has blasted some members of the opposition community for making statements that could incite their followers to cause violence in the October elections. Councillor Gonglo pointed accusing fingers at the political leader of the United Party, Ambassador Joseph Boakai, and Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction Governing Council Chair Senator Prince Johnson for making statements such as nobody has monopoly over violence or we will forcefully resist any plans to steal the elections. The voice of the standard bearer of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo. Meanwhile, Archbishop Asewinga has termed as timely the presence of the international partners in Liberia ahead of the October 10 polls. Recently, the European Union and the Economic Community of West African States disclosed the deployment of its election observers across the 15 counties of Liberia. According to the regional bodies, their presence seek to ensure that the election is conducted in a peaceful manner as the 2023 election marks 20 years. Thus, as 2023 marks 20 years of uninterrupted peace since the signing of the Accra Peace Agreement in 2003. Archbishop Zwinkat, who is the founder of the Dominion Christian Fellowship Church, has at the same time cautioned Liberians to ensure that the peace of the country is maintained.
on internet.
The voice of Bishop Asa Winga the Terminus stormed the presence of the international partners in Liberia ahead of the October 10 polls. 5 persons have been forwarded to court for prosecution for their connection to the recent drug saga at the Rabas International Airport. Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency's Director of Public Affairs, Margaret G. making the disclosure to RSN News on Wednesday, said one person was charged with unlawful importation of illicit drug, while the other 4 were charged with unlawful transportation and criminal conspiracy. The voice of Margaret G. the Public Affairs Director at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. Dr. Arlene White, co-executive director of the Advocacy Foundation for Human Rights, has delivered a compelling testimony before the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Subcommittee on Global Health Rights, and International Organizations. His testimony brought attention to the urgent issue of ritualistic killings in Africa, with a particular focus on Liberia. Dr. White's testimony shed light on the Advocacy Foundation's crucial mission, which involves combating human rights violations, especially ritualistic killings. The voice of Dr. Adam White, co-executive director of the Advocacy Foundation for Human Rights, there, delivering a compelling testimony before the Committee on Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Global Health, Global Human Rights, and International Organizations. The National Eye Health Division of the Ministry of Health site SAFO has launched the National Eye Health Policy and Strategic Plan in Liberia. The National Eye Health Policies and Strategic Plan are aimed at addressing eye issues in the country with the training of specialized doctors. Given the overview of the program manager of the National Eye Health Program, Dr. Joseph Kekula said the program will help the institution make significant strides in the health system of the country. Pause. The voice of Dr. Joseph Kekula, serving as chief launcher of the program, Liberia Chief Medical Officer Dr. Francis Ketot noted that the document will help make the health sector vibrant. Dr. Francis Keto is Liberia's chief medical officer, serving as chief launcher of the National Eye Health Policy and Strategic Plan in Liberia. That was the voice of the director of program at the Ministry of Health, the National Eye Health Division. The Yoruba Community and Descendant Union of Liberia wants Bola Ogunkoya to step down as king of the Yoruba Kingdom in Liberia. The president of the group, Matthew McKindy, accused Bola Ogunkoya of misappropriation of funds, misconduct, and sexual harassment while serving as king of the Yoruba community in Liberia. According to McKinney, after launching an investigation into these allegations against Bola, executives of the union invited him for questioning. The verse of Matthew McKinney, the accusing Bola Ogongoyed of misappropriation of funds, misconduct, and sexual harassment while serving as king of the Yoruba community in Liberia. While efforts by distinction to reach Mr. Bola Ogonkoyed yield fruitless as his firm rank endlessly. Well, folks, that's all the time we got to be with you on today's edition of the news program. News decks, we sincerely apologize that we could not bring this post, but as we take leave of you, these are the top stories we've been carrying on the news program. American missionary Luke Richard lands at the Moravia Central Prison as police investigation implicates him to attempted murder and aggravated assault against his lover Jessica Lloyd. Integrity Watch Liberia alarms over violations of the campaign finance regulations as wealthy individuals and parties with substantial financial resources outspending their competitors in disregard to the regulation. Presidential candidate Councillor Tiawan Gonglo describes the October general elections in Liberia as a defining moment for the country, says the people's decision at the ballot will determine the future of the country. And in foreign news, Burkina Faso's Transitional Legislative Assembly unanimously votes to send troops to neighboring Niger, where the military seized power on 26 July. Love to say thanks to our correspondents, writers, reporters, editors, those who helped in making today's edition of News Vex a success. Marka Davis brought us the news bulletin, the foreign development. Johnson Batoma ably coordinated the sound. Mayan Tobian sat behind the camera and ably coordinated this entire production of the news program. For and on behalf of the news team, my name is Hanson Decker. Good evening.
when it comes to communication in Liberia.